We're always being asked what our diet is like. Do we count calories? Do we watch our macros? Do we eat cake?
So in this episode, we break down some of the principles we apply to our food and drink, give you some do's and don'ts, and take you through our typical meals, including what time of day we eat them. If you've been unsure of what or how to eat, you're sure to find this helpful.
Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. We are currently sitting in our London flat with all the windows closed, sweltering, because it's finally summer.
Finally summer, though it has gone a bit overcast today, so it's got that horrible mugginess to it.
It has. Don't complain.
But it's
I'm
all
not
right.
complaining.
I'm off to go paddleboarding on the River Thames later.
You are. Leaving me alone to... I just love my own space, to be fair.
Hopefully she'll get on with some work. It'll be about time.
You're so cheeky. Everyone knows that's not true. Yeah, I like my own space. Who likes their own space out there? I really, really do. I lived on my own for quite a long time, so yeah, it was quite...
Enforced.
Oh, someone's full of the old jives this morning, aren't they?
I'm fired up and ready to go.
Thinking it's
funny.
It's
that Friday feeling.
Enforced loneliness. You're so mean. God, listen to what I have to part with.
Oh,
Anyway, let's get on with the podcast. But what have you been up to? We've just kind of been...
We did our talk at Soho House
We
today. You
did.
look like you'd forgotten that. So
I did forget that. How could I forget
Just
that?
this week, we're in Soho House, London, delivering a talk on midlife transitions.
And the joy of midlife.
Yeah, the joy of midlife. And that was really, really beautiful thing to do. So big thanks to everyone that came to that. We're actually doing a series of talks. So we've got another one, I think in October, another one in November.
End of October, then another one in November. And we've also been invited... by Soho House Miami to do something. So fingers crossed that comes off, because we're actually going to the US next month.
We are.
We're very excited.
I'm very excited for that. It's business and pleasure, but it'd be a proper holiday for us, won't it?
I know. It's so weird, because I looked at James when I said that, as if to look about whether it's going to be true. Like, are we honestly actually going for 2.5 weeks? Lola's going to be our dog. Is going to be looked
Probably
after.
Should get around to booking those tickets at some point.
So we have booked our tickets, and we're doing a real adventure. We'll tell you more about that. And actually, we might be doing, if you're not following us on social media, and you are interested in our little journey and what we're up to work-wise out there, do check us out on Instagram. We'll also be sharing stuff on TikTok. So we're at Midlife Mentors on Instagram and at the Midlife Mentors on TikTok. And we'll also be sharing stuff on Facebook as well. And sure, we'll be doing some podcasts while we're out there and sharing what we've been up to. But yeah, that's our US trip. And then we're going to be doing an event with Miami Soho House. So that's awesome. That was good. And then yesterday... I went to a networking event, which was just absolutely incredible. A female networking event. I don't often go to those, and I am now completely hooked. It wasn't one of those ones where you stand out and go, my name is Claire, and this is my business. It wasn't like that at all. It was organised super, super well, and the speaker was just really inspiring, really informative, but just it was wonderful to be in that energy of female founders that are going out there, running their own businesses, stepping up, stepping out, and I was buzzing. I'm still buzzing from it.
Yeah,
really
I love to see you
great.
come back. You came back on such a high.
Yeah, so great to see other women just doing their thing. So, okay, so this is going to be a fairly short one after we witted on about what we're doing.
We are, because obviously we're taking some people through the midlife method at the moment. Although all the nutrition is laid out for you there, it drips out slowly over time. So we're going to get a new intake. It's quite interesting to do the coaching call. They have a lot of questions, kind of what to eat, when to eat. And people are always asking us as well, like, oh, what do you eat? When do you eat? And when we go out with people, they're quite surprised, like, oh, I didn't think you eat that kind of thing. So we thought we'd actually share maybe some of our rules, our do's and don'ts that we personally live by for eating, and also give you examples and ideas of what we eat day to day.
So I think it's really important to say what we don't do, first of all. I actually just did a post on this. So what we don't do is weigh our food, obsess over macros, or count calories. Now, I'm not saying macros and calories are not important. If anyone has ever done any of our courses, when we're taking you through nutrition, you will see we've got like a pyramid. And at the bottom of the pyramid is the most important thing. That is calories. Sadly, that is a universal truth. If you are eating more calories than you are expending, you are going to put on weight. So calories is the first thing you need to look at. But we don't get our clients looking obsessively at calories. We don't get them calorie counting to the nth degree, and we don't get them macro weighing to the nth degree. What we do is educate what a normal plate should look like, and we educate like the percentages of what those macros should be like. And if you don't know that, we've done a podcast on macros, we've done a podcast on calories and stuff. So go back, check out one of those podcasts there. So we're not going to dive into that, but that's one of the things that we don't do. We eat very intuitively, and I do think that that's a really like overused term now, intuitive eating. But I think it is one of the best ways to explain that what we do and how we educate our clients to eat is that intuitive understanding of some principles around food that they can take anywhere with them. You know, one of the most beautiful things, especially over the summer when clients are working with us over the summer, they're like, oh, I've gone on holiday, but I've applied your principles and I haven't actually put on weight. And normally I come back from holiday like half a stone heavier. So these principles are to make sure that you are living and eating in a balanced way that's easy to fit into your lifestyle. So I just wanted to say what we don't do.
Yeah, and of course we'll be taking these principles to America with us. Now we could be on the road a lot, so it is going to be challenging eating well or in a more healthy way, I think, when you're on the road, but you can always find ways to do it. So these are the principles we're going to adhere to. I just say, you know, like if you've got a lot of fat to lose initially, like it's like anything. The closer, if you've got no knowledge in this, you might need to be a bit more mindful and thoughtful at first and be more aware of what you're eating. But over time, as Claire said, you will get to the point like we do now. Like, we just look at the plate and know what we want, and we check in with ourselves. Like, oh, am I actually hungry, or is that just a bit of kind of boredom or something else making me want to go and get a snack? Can I wait? Or if I am going to eat, what am I going to eat? Why am I eating that? You know, understanding the process once it goes into the body, and then going from there. I just want to throw one caveat in. Like that might sound a bit joyless, but no, listen. We're big believers in getting balance in life. So do we ever go out and eat things like pizza, burgers, chips? Yes, absolutely, but just not all the time.
Yeah, and I think this approach of ours comes from, well, actually both of us, and I know James might be sharing this, he probably shares this less, but James definitely had issues around food when he was at university, and I had a terrible relationship with my body, with myself, with my food, and I calorie counted for years. I mean, absolutely years. I had no understanding of macros, right? So it was all just about the calories, and this is why we get really frustrated with the likes of Slimming World and Weight Watchers, actually, because they don't teach you about the macros and why you're eating and
Still
what
have
time
you eating bowls of fruit at night.
Yeah, and actually saying, oh, they're free food. Free food doesn't exist. It's also like a really, really bad term, so I won't get into that. But from my background and from James's, because he understands where I was coming from when we created the Midlife method, we wanted to create something that veered away from that, a like really strict, rigid approach, because it is so distressing. It is so overwhelming. It's so depressing, right? And I lived my life like that for far too long. And for me to be able to re-educate myself, to heal myself, to move away from doing all of that stuff and still actually have a better body now than I ever had, right? To have a better body now than I ever had when I was counting calories and being really, really prescriptive over my food and being joyless about it. So I really wanted to take that and use that as the bedrock of the program, basically. But as James said, we do get asked quite a lot, like when we eat, what we eat. So we thought we would just jump on share. So do you want to start with breakfast?
Yeah, I was going to say, before we go into actually specifics of what we eat, I was going to give you like some of the principles. So we'll always aim to eat our dinner as early as we can. Now, the reason for that is, you know, we get then a longer fast overnight. And generally, if it's a training day, we will train fasted and then have our breakfast afterwards. You know, maybe on a Sunday, we still get up really early, but we'll walk over to Hampstead Heath, go for a swim in the ponds, come back. So again, our breakfast is late. So we try and have our breakfast late, our dinner early, lunch pretty much snack bang in the middle of the day. And at all those meals, I'd say we prioritise protein, and we load our carbohydrates early in the day for breakfast and lunch, and really go light on carbs at night.
And when James says we normally eat our dinner, our evening meal as early as possible, and then leave our breakfast till as long as we can, that fast is normally about 14 hours at the most, I would say, just because we do train heavily, we are super active, and I find if I don't eat within the 14-hour window, my sugar levels drop, I start to feel woozy headed. But also you need to be really careful that you're not going, like catabolic, and you're not actually breaking down muscle mass. So you just have to get that balance right. But again, it's really personal. We were asked all of this stuff at the Soho House Talk, weren't we? It's really personal. Some people have 16-hour fast, 18-hour fast, 20. We don't prescribe to that. And we wouldn't necessarily recommend you go over like a 16-hour fast personally.
No,
but
find what works for you.
Yeah.
But definitely, if you go over, then it can be counterproductive as well.
And raise stress in the body.
Raise stress, raise cortisol. You'll start to break down muscle tissue, which is not what you want.
Exactly.
So breakfast. We're creatures of habit, actually. So pretty much every day we start the day with our breakfast power smoothie that most of our clients actually transition to and love it. So this is giving you a really good high protein, I'd say medium carbohydrates, a little bit of healthy fats start to the day. Essentially what you do is you get a shaker, you fill it with I put about 400 ml of water in because mine's bigger. 300. A handful to a handful and a half of frozen berries. Now berries are great because they contain antioxidants and they don't spike insulin as much as other fruits. So frozen berries also makes it nice and cold. We will then add in like a teaspoon of good quality peanut butter, healthy fats there. A scoop for Claire, a scoop and a half for me of protein powder.
Chocolate.
Yeah. And then whatever flavourings you want, really. So a bit of cinnamon, you can have a bit of cocoa. We actually put a super greens mix in as well. So this is the powder that's just a mix of lots of green vegetables. So that goes in there. And then we blitz it all up. Did I miss anything out?
You've forgotten linseeds and chia seeds.
Yeah, seeds, chia seeds and linseeds as well. Then we blitz the whole thing up. Now, it's good. This is going to come in around, 450 calories. But because you're getting the protein and the fats in, it triggers your leptin, meaning you feel full. And everyone says this, if you've ever started your day by grabbing, 2 slices of white buttered toast, you know that probably by 9, 10 o'clock, you're hungry again. With this, you really don't start to get hungry, I'd say, till approaching 12 o'clock. Because it's got so much in it. You've got the slow release carbohydrate energy from the oats. You've got the protein. You've got the fat. It's just a great way to start the day. Now,
so you say 12 o'clock. That's because we've actually eaten our breakfast at about 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's true.
So yeah, I mean, you normally that sustains me for a good 4 hours.
4 or 5 hours.
Yeah,
I'd say for me.
Yeah.
But on the days we don't have that, which is rare, right? Even on Saturdays have that. So it's probably Claire normally has it every day.
I do.
Some days I might want to mix it up. So then I will go for something like grilled bacon on sourdough, poached eggs on sourdough. But you see the thing here, I'm still going for like high protein, bit of fat, and low carb. And there's lots of evidence around this. So whatever we eat first in the day is going to set our insulin response for the rest of the day. So if we have a bowl of like really sugary cereal, then our insulin is going to be going haywire all day. So that's first takeaway is like get a really good breakfast that's low GI, that has a decent amount of protein in it, and will keep you going hopefully to near lunchtime.
And if you want the recipe for that power shake, by the way, you must join our Midlife Mentors community on Facebook because it's in there and people get tagged into that all the time. So if you're not part of the community, why not? But the link's in the show notes. Go and click on the link, Midlife Mentors community on Facebook, and then just pop a post in there if you want and just say, Claire, James, can you give us the power smoothie recipe? And then we'll tag you into it because it's inside there. So next thing up is lunch. So making sure that, again, that you've got protein in that meal, protein for every meal, even your snacks, high protein snacks. So we normally have like a mixture of different things. So I might have prawns and a bit of avocado. So I've got my protein, I've got my good fats there. Be careful on avocados. Again, they're nutritionally dense. So probably have, I would say about 2 of those in a week at the most. I normally have like a quarter of an avocado when I have those prawns or a bit of chicken. And then what else do we have? We have some tuna sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm a massive lover of gherkins. I don't know where that's come from, but I'm obsessed with gherkins at the moment. I have a tablespoon of hummus with it. I have some tomatoes with it. In the winter, we'll have some soup. Then I'll add some chicken to the soup. I don't tend to have loads of carbs actually at lunchtime. Sometimes I'll have a bit of quinoa, or I might have a bit of brown rice, or I might have a slice of sourdough. But generally, my lunch is lower carb, and then obviously we'll talk about dinner in a minute. But we really mix it up. We're just making sure that we've got protein in there, some fat in there, good quality fat, and a little bit of carbohydrate, like our breakfast.
We also have like things like eggs and ham.
Of
quite
course, how could I miss
frequently.
that?
You could miss that, or
Omelettes.
sometimes bacon and eggs as well. Omelettes will knock up. Which are really tasty, actually. You know, that I love an omelette, especially on a colder day. We just chuck in like a load of mushrooms, peppers, tomatoes, a little bit of cheese, and then that's a great meal as well. So that's lunch.
Just be careful. What I would say again is just be careful on the portion sizes, right? Because a lot of us eating healthily. I hear this all the time. I'm eating healthily, and I'm like, okay. And then I see people with a whole tub of hummus, and they've gone through an entire. You just need to be careful on the portion sizes, like those avocados. If you're an avocado fan, a quarter of those. Like hummus, a tablespoon. Dump that on, so you've got some crudités and stuff like that. Just watch portion sizes is what I would say, and that's just a bit of trial and error too.
Yeah, and then because I'm a guy and my goals
You
actually
are a guy.
like preserving or building my new muscle, I'll go for my dessert, which will be a low-fat, low-sugar Greek yogurt with another scoop of protein powder in it to make a nice chocolatey yogurt dessert. So that's like another big load of calories for me, like middle of the day as well.
And I'll probably have that if I'm still peckish. I'll probably have something like that at about 3ish, because that's a really, really good snack. We will maybe talk about some snacks in a second.
Snacks after dinner, I reckon.
Yeah, let's talk about snacks after dinner. But just because James was saying that about his Greek yogurt, low-fat, low-sugar Greek yogurt with the protein in it, I might have that if I'm feeling a bit peckish, because that's perfect to trigger that leptin. So I'll have half a scoop of protein in a bit of Greek yogurt. And the amount of Greek yogurt I normally have is a couple of tablespoons of Greek yogurt, mix in the protein powder, put a bit of cinnamon on the top, and Bob's your uncle. That's really good. It's a really, really good snack. But you have yours straight after lunch.
I do. And then dinner. So dinner, we'll typically go for a lean protein with lots of, lighter leafy veg. So that might look like a lean pork steak or salmon fillet or sea bass fillets, either just pan fried or grilled or oven cooked, and then a tray of oven cooked vegetables. So we'll go in there like mushrooms, broccoli, sprouting broccoli, asparagus,
It's yummy.
tomatoes, stuff like that. So we've got no heavy carbs in there at night. There's like no potatoes, no rice, no pasta, nothing like that.
No bread.
So that's one. Another thing we'll do is stir fries. Again, turkey or chicken in the pan, and then some light vegetables in around it with the sauce.
Sometimes we might really mix it up and have like a breakfast for dinner. So we might have bacon and eggs.
We might.
And some beans or something like that.
Steak every now and again.
Yeah.
We get low-fat mince and make chili. So we'll make a chili, but again, we won't have the rice with it, so it's just a bigger portion of the protein.
I have your peanut turkey sometimes.
Peanut turkey that I'll make.
That's it, really.
Satay turkey. Those
And then
are
after,
the main things.
and then after that, in the winter, normally we have like a little bit of dark chocolate as a snack. So one of the things we hear a lot is after I've eaten my main meal, I get like a real sugar craving. What I would say is be careful on that, because you haven't actually digested your food yet. So just be careful that you're not. It's not just a habit. Make sure that it's not really coming from an emotional space. Make sure that it's not a trigger. Just be aware of what's causing that. What I would say is have a big glass of water. If you are feeling those sugar cravings, have a big glass of water. There's absolutely nothing wrong in having like a square of good quality, high cocoa chocolate. So we'll have like 85%. 90% is a bit much for me.
I can go 90.
No, I know.
I'm
But 85% chocolate. Just have a square of that, and that feels kind of indulgent. For right now, you might think, what? That's indulgent, but you can't have very much of that kind of that high cocoa chocolate. So it does feel quite indulgent. For me, I can't eat a lot of it anyway. But it just makes you feel like you've had that little bit of a sugar hit. And then in the winter, I will have a peppermint and licorice tea, because that's quite sweet as well. But I know I can have that. If I just want that little sugar hit, I'll have a little tea if I'm feeling, the craving.
So let's talk snacks, because this is the thing, like in the day, we do get hungry, particularly if we're exercising or if we're working with a lot of brain power.
A lot of brain power.
Where most people go wrong is, we'll go for the carbohydrate-based snacks. We'll reach for, the bag of crisps, the biscuits, the muffin, the thing. All that's going to do is it's not going to help with your leptin. So you'll find that you're hungry again later. Your insulin will spike, drop. You'll be like, oh, right, 30 minutes later, I'm hungry again. So we want to go for, again, high protein, good quality fats, snacks. So as Claire's already said, a really good thing is keep protein powder handy. Just whack yourself a little protein shake up. If you do it with water, you're getting a big hit of protein with not many calories. Lots of our clients like things like cottage cheese, which Claire likes.
I absolutely hate it. I actually feel myself.
I'm going to pin you down and make you eat a load
absolutely. I really feel myself just when you even mention cottage cheese.
A small handful of nuts. Again, nuts are very nutritionally dense. We don't want to eat loads and loads of them. Or a teaspoon of good quality nut butter. Again, that's a great one to have. And if you want to vary it up, you can have small bits of fruit with that, like a little bit of banana with the peanut butter, a bit of apple dipped in your cottage cheese.
Or you can also have crudités and hummus, right? So if you haven't had that for lunch and you kind of fancy that, again, be careful on the portion sizes of all this. So a tablespoon of hummus at the most, and then just cut up some carrots, some celery, some cucumber, and have some tomatoes, and just dip that in. Because a lot of the time, just that action of picking at something, a lot of the time we actually hear people liking the idea of having crisps, but the thing is, it's like putting your hand out, grabbing something, It's the same with chocolate. But if you can have that with something healthy and dip it in, you're going to be getting the same signals being sent to your brain, and you will actually have that little bit of a dopamine hit by going for your little crudités and dipping it in. That's what works for me anyway when I'm peckish. I think that's it on snacks. Just be careful as well that you are not mildly dehydrated. We say this all the time. Make sure that you
drink water all through the day, don't we?
Yeah, so I'd be drinking about 3 litres, especially more actually in this weather, but about 3 litres of water a day. And if you are feeling hungry, just have a glass of water and see how you're feeling. Because as I said, we do confuse hunger with mild dehydration quite frequently. And I know when I've upped my water, I'm definitely not as hungry, and I'm not feeling like I need to reach for the snacks quite as much. So that's what we eat. Now listen, you're probably thinking, what if I'm vegetarian? What if I'm vegan? Here's the thing, guys, we're not. So we're kind of doing this podcast on what we eat because we get asked a lot about what we eat in a day. But obviously on our programme, we've got vegans, we've got vegetarians. We do help support people on what to eat for breakfast, lunch and dinner. That's part of what we do to support people when it comes to their protein, their fats and all of that kind of stuff.
Now, some people are thinking, well, that all sounds great. I can tell there's good variety there. There's a lot of tasty sounding meals, but come on, guys, where's the indulgent stuff? Where's your slices of chocolate fudge cake or carrot cake stuff? Well, here's the honest truth. At midlife, we cannot get away with eating that kind of stuff all the time. But that's not to say that we would never have it, right? But it's probably once a week at the most. I say maybe once every 2 weeks. I mean, the last time I had cake was probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and then I kind of didn't really enjoy it. Now my palate's changed, so it'll be a while before I go again. But we do have things like at the weekend we might get a pizza, we might get burgers, we might go for Mexican food, ordering a Thai, because I want you to get away from this thing. A lot of people fall down by thinking if they have that blowout meal that then, I've ruined it, so I might as well carry on. In fact, it won't make a significant difference to your overall progress, that one meal. Just go back to your principles the next day. It's just if we continue it going, that's when we get into problems. Yeah,
what will cause the issues is if you think there's an issue. If you tell yourself the story that you've fallen off the wagon and the wagon's broken and you can't get back on, that's exactly what will happen. And psychologically, you'll just be thinking, well, it doesn't matter now, I've broken it. This is the thing. It never matters about what's in the past and what's happened. It's about the next step and the next move we make. And it's all about the story we tell ourselves. So just enjoy food is to be enjoyed. It's not to be controlled and restricted. It's to bring joy and balance to our lives, right? So absolutely. And what we would say is if you are a sociable person, you're going out a lot, just plan your other meals around that. So if you know that you're going out, on a Thursday or a Friday for food, just make sure that the other meals are healthy. That's the thing. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. I see people all the time. I said this at the networking event yesterday. I see people overcomplicating all of this way too much. So much so that we've disconnected with our own sense of self and disconnected with our own body and what feels good for our gut. We said this when we were talking about wearables on the podcast last week, but it's really, really important that you reconnect with yourself and find out what works for you as well. One of the things I just want to say as we wrap up is we do travel a lot, and I know a lot of our listeners travel a lot. So talking about America, how are we going to deal with that? Well, I just want to say, look, what you don't want to do is grab croissants, donuts, baked goods. You want to, for breakfast, if there's nothing else, you want to kind of grab actually meat-based things if you are a meat eater, or egg-based products. What you don't want to do is anything really, really sugary or really, really high, like baked goods and things like that are going to spike your insulin. You want to go for, just keep thinking protein for every meal that you're on the road. Again, like for lunchtime, you don't want to go and grab a packet of crisps. You don't want to grab a chocolate bar. What you want to do, or a sandwich, if it's, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to be able to find this in the US, but if you're travelling around the UK, I think we've got things like Waitrose and M&S and Sainsbury's and things like that. You can actually go and buy pre-cooked protein boxes of prawns and chicken and all that kind of stuff. We'd rather you grab something like that rather than having a sandwich and a packet of crisps and a chocolate bar. So just keep thinking, the principles are eat as much protein as you can because you know it's going to trigger leptin. Anything sandwich based, anything like croissants and all that kind of stuff are not going to be your friend. You're going to end up starving hungry all day and just pick all the rest of the day because you haven't had enough protein.
Yeah, I think that's it. I hope you found that useful. I mean, people do always ask us this kind of stuff. So we'd love to know what you eat, or if you indeed got any recipes you'd love to recommend. We'd love to hear them. Team at the Midlife Mentors.
Oh, sorry, I've just thought of one other thing.
What's that?
Do we drink alcohol?
Because
that's another thing that people ask all the time. Because obviously there's a calorie.
Throwing that in at the end there.
Yeah, sorry. So I go through bouts of being alcohol free. I'm actually going through a long bout of that right now. And the reason I've gone through bouts, complete transparency, is a couple of years ago I started experiencing weird perimenopausal symptoms. That's when I cut back on my alcohol because I just noticed it was making me very anxious. Just not feeling like me, and actually not a nice person to be around the next day or the next day after that. So I had a real awakening around alcohol, and I feel my absolute best when I'm alcohol free. And I have got a lot of support around that, and I just that's less though about calories for me. To be quite honest with you, it's less about calories and it's more about how I feel, how I show up, how connected to myself I am, how present I am with the people that I love. It's more of a mindset and emotional thing for me rather than a physical thing. But I just thought I'd throw that in there because that is one of the things that people ask. Like, do you drink? And we're not being puritanical about it. We're not judgmental about it at all. We always say just be careful on how much alcohol you're drinking for the calories, for the sugar, the inflammation in the body. Actually, it increases stress in the body, not reduces it. And also, it causes inflammation in the body. So we always just ask people to be aware of their intake of alcohol, but we're not puritanical about it. No. And Jane, you drink, don't you?
I still drink, so I just don't drink in the week. I'll save it for the weekend, and then it'll just be a few beers. I've given up wine completely because it just doesn't agree with me.
And gin and tonics, you used to like a gin and tonic, don't like
that
anymore.
I mean, very, very, very occasionally, maybe I'll try one, then probably decide I'll go back to beer. But that's me, yeah.
Yeah, I think
You temper me.
I do.
I
temper you. So, just thought I'd throw that in here as well. I was just thinking of any other questions that you might have off the top of my head. But if you do have any more questions, like James was just saying, any more questions, any more thoughts on this, anything else you want to know, then just drop us an email at team@themidlifementors.com or go into the Midlife Mentors Community Facebook group and ask your questions there. Don't be shy. Or reach out to us on any of our social media platforms, and they're all in the show notes.
Fab.
Oh, and we've got our retreat coming up. Just as a final thing, if you are new and listening to this for the first time, we run luxury retreats. We have done for the last 12 years. And we have an amazing one partnering with Six Senses in Ibiza, 19th of October until the 22nd. And we have a few spaces left on that. We're really, really excited. If you want to know, if you basically want to reset in body, mind and soul, and want to really understand how to create life longevity as we're aging, as we are reaching midlife, how to experience the best midlife you possibly can, and thrive in this second act, then that's everything that we do. You know, it's basically our program condensed into a 3-night stay in the most luxurious surroundings. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. So excited about that. And I've put the link in the show notes to that as well. And if you want anything else or need anything else, just send us a message. That's it. Okay.
Are you sure that's it?
That is it now.
One more thing.
That is it now.
Okay.
Sending you so much love, everyone.
Till next time.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.